watch me. If you think I don't have the energy level or the mental acuity, then you know, that's one thing.
Everything burns.
What's up, guys? Boy Benny. What's the biggest problem in America today? Well, there are so many options to choose from, but I suppose that I would argue that the main problem in this country is that we spend way too much money. We're going to spend trillions of dollars just servicing our debt. We have $35 trillion in debt. How did that even happen? Richest nation on earth. The federal government brings in like $5 trillion a year. So how do you blow out your budgets like that? Well, of course, irresponsible spending, but what are they spending the money on? What does the immigration crisis even mean? Like the illegal immigrant crisis in this country, what is it? Why? Why is it happening? Well, because of free money. That's why, because the government gives out so much money to every single person who lives here as a bribe. And it's a bribe. The government gives you money for healthcare or food or housing or whatever. And then in return, you get chains on your hands. And it's a modern form of slavery. And this is something that's been called out like for hundreds of years. And I guess there's some cold comfort in that. But when the government can control your food supply and your medical supply and what kind of insurance you can have and where you can live, you're a slave, man. You're a slave. And so just call it what it is. You're either an independent human being who can move and go and do what you wish, and that's called freedom, or you're somebody who is totally and completely dependent on systems and on institutions that actually control your life. So that's the bargain there. And the government then, of course, is incentivized to give out as much free money as it possibly can to gain more fealty, right? To increase the size of their plantation and the people who are totally dependent on them and who will then, of course, continue to vote for the people and party that is giving out all the freebies, all the free stuff, you know, because you have people who are in bondage that you must take care of. And ladies and gentlemen, this was predicted a long time ago. It's a guy named Alexander Fraser Tytler. He was a lord in Scotland. And he is attributed to one of the best quotes ever about democracy here. It goes like this. A democracy is always temporary in nature. It simply cannot exist as a permanent form of government. A democracy will continue to exist until the time that the voters discover that they can vote themselves generous gifts from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority will always vote for the candidate who promises the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that every democracy will collapse due to loose fiscal policy and will always be followed by a dictatorship. Oh my goodness. The average age of the world's great civilizations beginning in history are about 200 years. Oh my, America's at 250 years right now. During those 200 years, these nations always progress through the following sequence. Bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from great courage to liberty, liberty to abundance, abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to complacency, from complacency to apathy, apathy to dependence, dependence back to bondage. Oh my. There's the actual chart for you. Where are we right now? We are certainly not on this side of the chart, okay? These were our ancestors. We are over here on this side of the chart. Selfishness, complacency, and apathy. We're like somewhere in here. And we're very quickly going to the point of no return. Dependency. Okay? Government incomes, right? Guaranteed government incomes for everybody. And then all of us become slaves of the state. Many argue that the income tax is effectively that right now. The income tax means that we're all slaves of the state right now. I mean, isn't that true? Same with property tax. You ever really own your house? Like, doesn't that like ring kind of true? You know, I got a mortgage. I'm paying off my house. So 30 years from now, when I pay off my house, do I own it? What if I didn't pay taxes on that house, even though I own the entire I own it? I don't. What would happen? The government would put me in prison. Take it. So do I own anything? Great question. Do I own my own income if the government can just grab as much of it as they want and there's no restrictions on how much of it they can take? Well, then no. I mean, it's a horrible, rotten system. And it's really bad when you think about it. And the only way to stop it is less government. But who's going to do that? Who has the guts and the stones to do that? Well, certainly not the Republicans of old, who actually had the ability to do it and like the public will. And now with Democrats changing the demographics of the nation forever into dependence, then what's going to happen next? Oh, baby. Here's a good example of what's going to happen next. Democrat staffer goes viral for boasting about Biden canceling his student debt. Oh, my. So a Democrat staffer that makes six figures performing fellatio from a political perspective on the Democrat Party gets all of his student loans paid off. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that remarkable how that happens? This is why election matters. Staffer's boss spoke out against Biden's student debt handout in 2022. Well, what do you know? A House Democrat staffer was ripped for thanking Joe Biden after student debt was canceled. Ben Kamens, communication director for Ohio Rep. Marcy Kaptur, posted on his X account that he had been informed that his student loans had been cleared. Wow. Just got a call. Let me know that my student debt has been canceled. This is why elections matter. Thank you, Joe Biden, Kamens wrote, along with a photo of the notice. The notice read, "Congratulations, the Biden-Harris administration has forgiven your federal students' loans listed below in full." Wow. Isn't that nice? Goodness. Why the hell did I pay off my student loans? Why did we pay off my wife's student loans? Why did we ever do this? Here's the actual post itself. I just got a call. Let me know. You can see this is the biggest ratio in the history of X. So I guess there's some cold comfort in knowing that everybody hates this guy. 42,000 comments. 42,000 comments. 7,000 reposts, and who knows how many of those are bots, but 42,000 comments. Oh, man. Oh, man. Joe didn't pay 1 cent for that election bribe. We, the taxpayer, did. Just here for the freeloader ratio. It did not get canceled. Me and every other hardworking American taxpayer paid off your education, you deadbeat shill. Many of us, including me, worked our asses off to pay off our student loans in time. Others of us never went to college or graduate school, but now we have to cover your lawful debts, you welcher. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself, and instead you celebrate it. Disgusting. That is truly the era that we live in right now. Scott Pressler saying, "Why are you receiving mail at a home where you don't live? It appears to be potential for voter fraud. Where are you registered to vote?" Good old Scott Pressler rolling through with the right questions, asking the right questions. Google the mailing address in this letter. The house is worth a lot of money. House is worth $500,000, actually. You should take that money and immediately give it to every penny to marginalized people. It's the right thing to do on Juneteenth. Okay, well, as you can see, this person is getting completely destroyed. This is Ben Kamens. There you go. Classic physiognomy. Physiognomy never is defeated, ladies and gentlemen. Never defeated. Comstaffer on the Hill. Just trust the process. Wawa enthusiast. Got it. So, yeah. Getting destroyed over here with this. And here's the cancellation letter. There's eight grand. So that's $8,000. How this works is that's $8,000 that was sucked out of the value of the dollar, right? So but think about it that way. So the money's not real. So they can just go in and just delete the accounts, right? But somebody has to pay. And that somebody is the ultimate value of the dollar. So the value of all of our dollars were just reduced by a fractional amount because of this slob. And the internet is really, really, really angry about it. Just read a tweet and let me know my hard-earned tax dollars are being stolen to pay for this bum's loans. This is why elections matter. Thank you, Joe Biden, says Dan Bongino. Let's check some of the other reactions here from Scott Taylor. Scott Taylor, your tax dollars were already paying for this DC staffer's student loans while he works on Capitol Hill. Now you paid them off completely, whether he works or not. And he may start taking more classes, which then you will pay for as well. This is why elections matter. Joe Biden is robbing hardworking plumbers, electricians, and mechanics to pay off the student loans for this congressional staffer ahead of schedule. This reflects so poorly on Democrats. Always fun when somebody who works in the government thanks somebody else in the government for saddling others who didn't agree to the debt for paying off his loans. My son works 12 hours a day installing metal roofs and will be impressed at how his tax dollars are being spent. That's exactly right. You steal from you force at the point of a gun, you force these people to give you their tax dollars, and then you use it to pay off these slobs' irresponsible student loan burden. Like, it really wasn't even that much money. Could the guy just cut back a bit and just pay off his own debts? No doubt the working people of America will be thrilled to step in because despite having received the service you took out the loan to buy, you couldn't be bothered to pay off $8,000 in principal in 14 years, which is $500 a year. That's right, you slob. Dean Cain, you're thanking Joe Biden? Is he the one who paid off your loan you voluntarily took? You should be thanking the American taxpayer, especially those who didn't or couldn't afford to go to college. Yeah, but they never will. Biden buying votes again. This is exactly the point. The internet is enraged about this. Obviously, you can see here, and you can see in the comment sections are just withering, everyone saying that they're buying votes. Imagine being a Hill.com staffer and tweeting that the taxpayers are not only paying off your salary, but now paying your debts too. Yeah. Thanks, Joe Biden. No, thank the taxpayers, clown. He's not going to thank anyone. The taxpayers shouldn't have ever done this. Your election is worth nothing. Congrats. At least we know you need to be a registered Democrat in order to have your student loans become taxpayer debt. That's because the vast majority of student loans are taken out by Democrats because they're dumb with money. And you shouldn't have any student loans because college is a fraud. Eventually, leftists run out of other people's money buying votes, but proud deadbeats like this guy won't care. Please thank me, the American taxpayer, who carried myself and 2 kids through college. Don't thank Joe Biden. He just bought your vote. That's right. You're welcome, you freeloading POS. That's how everybody feels. Waste of taxpayer money. Bro had to pay $50 per month and still couldn't. You know, this guy, they looked up, you can find these congressional staffers' salaries. You know, this guy made $91,000 a year. $91,000 a year. The scumbag makes. Average Joe Biden supporter that posts their full address online and can't pay for $8,000 over 14 years. If I ever see this cheap-ass bastard, I want my money back. An American taxpayer that paid your school loan off, I want my money back. That's exactly right. And people just generally and totally losing their minds. This is what Cat Turd said, one of my favorite accounts. This is the biggest ratio I've ever seen on X, and well-deserved. Yeah. But the ratio won't get us our money back, and we'll never get our money back. The Supreme Court said that Joe Biden couldn't do this, but Joe Biden just is violating openly what the Supreme Court ordered and is doing it and is buying votes among a population that hates him, right? Students. And so it'll be very interesting to see if this pays off. Bold strategy, debase the currency, decline the nation further towards despotism and dictatorship, and do it all to what? Try and win one election on your way out of life, right? Like, you can barely even function. What kind of a nation are you going to leave for young people? And here's a question I ask all the time. What kind of a country am I going to leave for my kids? What an immoral person I am if I don't leave a good country for my children or fight to leave a good country for my children. Like, how bitterly immoral this is. If you give a rat's ass about the future in this country, these actions. But they don't, actually. They care about temporal power right now, and we'll break any system. We'll put anyone in jail, to keep it. That's why we call it evil often on this program, and you should too. And you should put on the MAGA hat, and let's get about the process of spending a lot less money in this country. That's maybe the only way to save this place. That and a lot of prayer. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.